a volunteer helper in Hampshire. I'm also a person in recovery now.
You met with Jeb Bush. How was that?
They were all looking at me, and there's Jeb Bush sitting in the middle. And it was... The thoughts that went through my head immediately was, I'm not worthy of this. And immediately I thought of Holly Sakala, the director for Hope for New Hampshire, saying, why not you? I thought, why not me? What don't I have to offer?
What Casey Curvin is offering is a desperate story, tough to hear, about an epidemic of drug abuse that is claiming too many lives in New England.
It's the number one thing somebody under the age of 35 is going to die from in my state. Beats out car accidents. If you're not paying attention to that, then you have no right to represent anybody. It's ignorant to ignore it.
14 months ago, drug abuse barely registered here in the Granite State. Now, it's at the top. More important to voters than jobs, the economy, taxes, you name it.
OxyContin went off like a bomb in New England.
It started with OxyContin. What many don't realize is that pills like these and heroin have a lot in common. In fact, they are so chemically similar that for an addict or an abuser, they are essentially interchangeable. No surprise then, 80% of heroin addicts started off using pills.
How did that happen for you?
Somebody in the hotel had offered us heroin. I almost looked at it like a science experiment. That was how my brain justified going through the whole process of using heroin. I sniffed it, and it had an effect, but it wasn't the effect that I was looking for. An hour later, I shot heroin.
What were you trying to discover here?
I just wanted relief.
Relief from?
Relief from my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions. If I had the power to choose, I wouldn't choose to use every day.
What Casey is describing is a substance use disorder. That's a new name for an age-old disorder, addiction. It's a brain disease. It causes you to seek out drugs, no matter how horrible the consequences. In fact, Casey almost died of a heroin overdose. He now wants Narcan, a sort of antidote, in the hands of anyone who needs it. Why? Because it saved him, like it did for this woman. She has overdosed and is no longer breathing.
You're giving me some Narcan?
Now watch closely what happens when she gets Narcan.
Can you sit up? Alright, come on. Sure, you want a glass of water?
Casey's message, along with many others, is starting to be heard.
Addiction is not new.
In October, President Obama announced efforts to double the number of providers that can prescribe Narcan. It was welcome news here in New Hampshire, where the cries for help, any sort of help, are the loudest. And we kept asking ourselves, why here in New England? Well, the answer in part is because heroin is particularly easy to get and very cheap.
How easy is it to find if you wanted to find it?
That's a good question. I guarantee you there's nobody in New England with money in their pocket that is saying, God, I wish I could find heroin if they really needed it.
You got money, you can find it.
Yeah.
Casey hopes the days when he was out buying heroin stay behind him. He spends his free time now with his 3-year-old son and staying true to his recovery. Still, this wasn't the life he ever imagined, slowly becoming the new face of a former heroin addict.
People think that a person suffering from alcoholism or addiction, they have this image that comes up in their mind. And I like to break that image. Because if I met you on the street, you wouldn't think that 2 years ago I was an IV heroin user.
Yes, Casey Curvin is a new face, now tasked with taking the message of 23 million Americans currently in recovery straight to the candidates. Jeb Bush, Bernie Sanders, Chris Christie, anyone who could possibly stop this epidemic.
I'd appreciate it if they use the same language, not those addicts, those people. Because those people are your moms, your dads, sons, daughters, They're your neighbor. They're the chief of your police. They're everybody. They're your doctor, your nurse. We're not unique people. Just we have a chronic neurological condition that treatment is available and recovery is 100% possible.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN, Manchester, New Hampshire.